Well, hello there. So it looks like you showed up just in time. I'm making a pie crust because later today I'm going to make a pie. Go figure, right? So this is actually a really simple, they tell me it's a no-fail pie crust. It hasn't failed on me yet, so I'm tending to believe it. But here, let's go ahead and get started on it, just because the fact that, why wait, right? Let me grab one other thing that I forgot to grab earlier, but okay. So, first thing we're going to start with is 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, and we are going to add to that 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So, start with that, and mix the two, put the two in together. Just go ahead and give that a quick stir together. Now, to that, I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 cup of vegetable shortening. Now, I'm going to use the name brand that has the butter flavoring added, just because I think it will add, well, a lot of pie crusts ask for actual butter, but this one doesn't, so I'm going to use the butter flavor in order to impart that in. And then you want to use one of these handy dandy little things that they call them a pastry blender. It's no motor on it, so I don't really want to call it a blender, but it's used for mixing it. And you want to do that until it is going to resemble breadcrumbs. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Oops. Don't want to knock that too much yet. And to be honest with you, I've never had one of these work very easily. So maybe this will end up over on the fails channel too. Oops, sorry about bumping you there. To be honest with you, I've always just had better luck doing it this way. And we're just going to get a little dirty. I don't see why they want me to use one of those things. I'll bet they probably didn't even invent that until maybe about 150 years ago or so. And I'll bet pies have been around a lot longer than that. So first things first, we're just going to go ahead and get it worked in. And see, it really doesn't take that long even by hand. Besides, baking pies can be a hands-on sport too. There we go. Now, as you can see, it's nice and crumbly. That butter-flavored shortening is mixed in well. You can see by the coloring of the flour that it's mixed through. Now, to this, we're going to add 1/4 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, and 1 egg that we're going to beat real quick, just so that it breaks it up a little bit. And we're just going to go ahead and mix that right in. Now, of course, this will be the part where we'll definitely use that funny shaped blender thing, just because I'd rather at least mix in the egg and water part by hand, or this way first. There. Now that that's all mixed together, or at least starting to be stirred in, we're just going to go ahead and give this a quick mix by hand until it all forms together into a ball. And then this goes into a, well, I'm going to wrap it in cling wrap, saran wrap, plastic wrap, whatever you want to call it. And it goes into the refrigerator overnight, or at least for a couple hours. Okay. Oop. Oop, sorry, didn't mean to bump you again. Now there's a pie. See you later when I roll it back out and get it set up for a pie. Until then, enjoy. Welcome back. So now what we're doing is we are going to roll out the crust, and we are going to make our pie tonight. So first things first, this really should be enough dough to make at least 2 pies worth of crust for the type of pie we're doing, because these are not going to be top crust pies. Now, if this was a top crust pie, this is enough for 1 pie. So what we're going to start with is just divide it in half. And put it aside for the moment. And I'm just going to wrap this back up. Go ahead and put that aside. And we're going to want to kind of flour our work area a little bit. And before this stage, I actually let it sit on the counter for about a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, just to kind of come back up to room temperature just a little bit, because straight out of the refrigerator, it's a little harder for me to roll it out nice and thin without it kind of making a mess, which, as you can see, is already doing a little bit. So what you want to do is roll this out a couple inches bigger than the pie plate you're going to use, and this one is tells me it is a 9-inch. No, 8 3/4. So yeah, it's a 9-inch, and you kind of want to have it about 1/8 of an inch thick. And you kind of want to try and get it, you know, let's see. Well, maybe we're going to want to use all of that dough after all. just because it was actually getting a little bit thin in some areas. In other words, saying in some areas it was a little less than 1/8 of an inch. Whoops. There. There we go. Now, since how I want to get it as round as possible, easiest to do it this way, where you rotate the dough and work where you're going forward and backwards. Okay. And just work it a little bit at a time. So yeah, even though I'm kind of going in the little bit of a non-straightforward direction there, I'm still basically doing the same. And as you can see, those were getting a little out of hand, so we're just going to go ahead and add them back in by just folding them over. There we go. And just needs a little bit of pressure on it. I'm not even putting all of my upper body weight on it, but that's all I'm using is some of my own weight. I'm not actually having to put much strength into it, like when kneading a dough for, say, a bread. Okay. And as you can see, it's close to the right thickness there. So I'm going to roll it up onto my rolling pin, as you can see, to make it easier to transfer into my pie dish. And just kind of push it down in. Notice I did not grease the bottom of the pie pan at all. That's fine. You don't need to. Remember, this has about 1 cup of shortening in it, so it kind of brings its own, grease to the party here. And just kind of go ahead and make an edge, depending on what type of pie pan you've got. You've got the more traditional type there with the flat edge. Just kind of press it down, maybe use a fork to put a bit of a pattern on the edge. But that's really all it takes. And yes, there will be a little bit of dough left over. Go ahead and roll. If you want, go ahead and save that for later. You can always use it in a smaller pie pan or even a cupcake or a muffin pan and make smaller pies or tarts. So there you have it. And I'll show you guys the pie in another video. Enjoy, make one yourself, and don't forget, my small channel is not part of the YouTube partner program yet. Would you or could you please help me with that? There are many ways you could help me with that. To start, you could buy me a coffee or support my efforts through Patreon, or if you wish, you can PayPal me. But I do understand not having anything to give, so free support option is just to like my videos, subscribe and join the tribe, then click the bell icon to turn on notifications. That will tell YouTube my video is worth something. Plus, you can share my video on Facebook, Reddit, anywhere else you share videos with friends. Again, thank you for your support. Bonne soirée.